It was intercepted, right? Can you talk us about that play? And at the moment, it seemed like a big momentum shift.
Yeah, well, the first play of the game, we turned the ball over. They so happened to score, but we said, you know what, we got to go out there as a defense to respond somehow, some way. And I just got my hand in the passing lane, tipped the ball in the air, and Scooter came and cleaned up and got the pick. So that's all that happened. Just had to respond.
What was the biggest challenge that Indiana's offense presented for you guys today, do you think?
Shoot, it was just scheme, really. I mean, they got a good coaching staff, good offense that they ran, and they just executed. They're very disciplined, and they don't really mess up a lot. So, we had self-inflicted wounds, and they just took advantage of it.
They were up 21-0, I think, pretty early in the second quarter. How hard is it to kind of stick with it at that point?
I mean, it's hard, but at the same time, as a defense, we got to just, next play mentality. And we got to go out there and just keep competing. Because, the score today, is what it is, but you just never know what happens. You just can't quit. So that's just what we did, go out there and keep playing.
From your perspective, what was the biggest thing you guys took away that you're going to focus on in the bye week going forward?
Details and self-inflicted wounds. We just can't keep having that. We can't keep having penalties, flags, things like that. We just can't keep having that. So that's what we got to work on when it comes to, the bye week.
Nico, it felt like the first two plays kind of set the tone a little bit. First play, you're under pressure. Second play, under pressure, and they get the interception. How hard is that to kind of start a game like that, when they're bringing pressure the way they were?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a rough start, man, to the game. I think, that kind of set the tone for the game and how the offense played. They're bringing a lot of pressure, trying to, play games up front. And, we got to do a better job of picking it up.
This was the first game you guys didn't score a touchdown in. Just the offense as a whole, how much of it was their pressure and discipline on defense versus you guys not really clicking the way you wanted to?
Yeah, we just didn't execute on our part. They had a great game plan for us. We weren't able to run the ball efficiently. And then, just throwing the ball, we weren't able to be efficient in that game either. So, going into this bye week, we got to do a better job.
Throwing the ball, is it more of a function of not a lot of time in the pocket, or were guys struggling to get open?
You can go to, multiple things. Me being late to a read, or, us not picking up a pressure, or, guys not getting, the right depths on routes. So, we're all kind of taking turns on MAs, and we can't do that in big time games like this.
You guys had so much, for both of you, had so much momentum as a team going into this game. How hard is it to kind of, fall flat, so to speak, after all the fun of the last month?
I mean, it's hard. I think every loss is hard. So it's not very easy to just lose a game. But these are my brothers. We're gonna keep going. It's not gonna be the last. We're gonna keep going. We got 4 more games left, or however many we got. So each week, bye-week practices, each practice, and from this point forward, we're gonna keep going.
How do you capitalize and build, kind of building off that? What do you do to build back that momentum?
Sure, clean slate. This game's already lost in my mind. It's done. So when we come back on Monday or whenever we got to go, so let's go out there and attack.
Hey, Coach had a message for you guys after the game?
Same thing. It's clean slate. We got a new week.
Was that the same message to each other on the field?
Excuse me?
Was that the same message to each other throughout the game?
I don't think that's his message. I think he's got to just keep pushing.
What was the battle in the trenches like? I know there was a lot of talk about kind of losing that part of the game there.
I just try to respect my opponent. They got a good scheme, had good plays, they ran, and they just executed. There's certain things we didn't do right, and they scored touchdowns and they moved the rock. So that's how that goes.
Nico, what made their pressure so effective? Were they disguising the fronts in the way that they were bringing different guys?
Yeah, they're showing a lot of different looks, and then getting out to different coverages. So just us playing with better eyes as a whole. We got to be better at that.
Thanks.